Attention, please. The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Crypto Night Show. Hope you like the sneak preview there. We are going to have a lot of fun. Obviously, huge news today. We've got the ceasefire between the United States and of course Iran, and we're going to go through President Trump's update about that as well as Iran's update. Obviously, there was also a bit of a last mile thing to attack a few of the countries from Iran, so Israel, I think UAE, Saudi Arabia, kind of things. So we're going to talk about that. They always keep doing this last salvo. Have you noticed? We're going to have an agreement or peace, and then they fire a whole ton of rockets over. Anyway, so we're going to get into that. That will likely settle down, no doubt. And then we're going to obviously get into the futures market on stock market, all up about over 2%. So we're going to talk about that. Crypto, of course, gets to react immediately, and that's had a big rally. So very exciting there. And then we're going to get into, obviously, Bitcoin. We're going to break down some of the big crypto news out today as well from a couple of the big banks and ETFs. More good stuff coming, guys. It really is cool. And then we're going to get into Pulsechain and see what's happening over there. We've seen certainly some of the Richard Hart cores and some of the top project teams start to rally higher as well. So it's going to be a really fun show today. We like Green Day shows, don't we? Green Day shows. So let's see where we go. And hey, look, this piece holds. The piece holds and everything works out. Now you guys know it's still volatile, but it's certainly heading in the right direction. And that's kind of cool. All right, so let's get into it. Don't forget to get in the chat there as well. And say hello. We always like that. And of course, if you've got any comments, anything that's reasonably constructive, get in there, folks. And if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. We've got 3 YouTube channels: The Crypto Night Show, Superman Crypto, and Pulsechain X. Smash a sub on there as you come in and hit the bell. And if you're following next, don't forget to go up to the top and hit the follow button. Very, very cool. But let's get into it, folks. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about. So let's start off with the President of the United States. There's not much bigger than that. So let's go. All right. So we've got the statement here from the President of the United States. And let's see if I can't really expand it too much. So I'm going to read it out. So based on the conversations with Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, and Field Marshal Asim Munir there of Pakistan, and wherein they requested that I hold off the destructive force being sent tonight to Iran. And this came out just before the 8 o'clock deadline. I think it was 8 p.m. And subject to the Islamic Republic of Iran agreeing to the complete, immediate, and safe opening of the Strait of Hormuz, I agree to suspend the bombing and attack of Iran for a period of 2 weeks. Now, we've had multiple, if you think about it, we've had multiple extensions from Trump, but we've had confusion and threats in there, and it seems to be working pretty well for the most part. So that's been pretty interesting. We saw, if you see the corresponding reaction from Iran over several of those extensions, they have definitely moderated their behavior as well. You got to remember, over the weeks, of course, the leadership and a lot of the military hardware of Iran has been smashed, and the America could keep doing that for weeks. And the more they do it, the more they find all these, big, more tunnels and things like that. And so it would just be, carnage. But while before that, they would continue to break down the leadership, and that could have cascade failure as well. So, we could see a lot more stuff happening from the people. Obviously the Iranian people there in terms of rebellion. So they're not out in the street per se, but in, street by street rebellion there. So through basically rebel forces. So we'll see how that all plays out. Could still play out that way too. This will be a double-sided ceasefire. So both sides to the ceasefire there. The reason for doing so is that we have met and exceeded all military objectives and are very far along with a definitive agreement concerning long-term peace with Iran, the peace in Middle East. So that's pretty exciting. Now, they received a 10-point proposal from Iran, and they believe it is a workable basis on which to negotiate. So Iran, they're becoming far more reasonable, and so it looks like that's going to progress much better there. Almost all the various points of past contention have been agreed to between the United States and Iran, but a 2-week period will allow the agreement to be finalized and consummated. So obviously that's still to play. On behalf of the United States of America as president and also representing the countries of the Middle East, it is an honor to have this long-term problem close to resolution. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So that was from President Trump. Very, very cool. We're going to also look at the Iranian response as well. So let's get into that and look at that from the Iranian response here. So this is from Saeed Abbas Araghchi, I guess is how you might say that, Minister of Foreign Affairs for the Islamic Republic of Iran. And he says here that on behalf of the Islamic Republic of Iran, I express gratitude and appreciation for my dear brothers, the Prime Minister of Pakistan, Sharif, and Field Marshal Munir for their tireless efforts to end the war in the region. So from Pakistan there. In response to the brotherly request of Prime Minister Sharif in his tweet, and considering the request by the US for negotiations based on 15-point proposal, as well as an announcement by POTUS about acceptance of the general framework of Iran's 10-point proposal as a basis for negotiations, I hereby declare on behalf of the Iran's Supreme National Security Council, if attacks against Iran are halted, our powerful armed forces will cease their defensive operations for a period of 2 weeks. Safe passage through the Strait of Hormuz will also be possible via coordination with Iran's armed forces with due consideration of technical limitations. Of course, the US have played a big role in limiting those as well as a few other parties. So that is the response. So that is pretty good news. That being said, there was some late rocket attacks from Iran. They often do that, right, around the peace deal time. They send some barrages over. So that is also played out. So we can see that here in this little Fox News around missiles are raining down Tel Aviv less than 2 hours after the ceasefire. So presumably that was their last barrage. And they like to do that right around that time. I don't know why they do it, but they do it. Now, there may be separating powers in Iran, of course, but fractured in the leadership. But in any case, they often do this anyway. So that is probably going to be the last one if they want to hold this peace for, as the foreign minister said, for 2 weeks and get a deal done. So that is the play. So generally, overall, pretty positive. But of course, it's this was a bit of a last barrage, hopefully, and let's see how we get on there. Now, the US stock market, of course, did pretty well. But before we get into that, we've got Only Crypto in the house there. Hey, Superman, appreciate all your hard work. I appreciate that so much. Thank you very much. I love the feedback. Do you think we are going to pull back a lot lower or BC, or do you think we're going to start making our way to a new high? Well, obviously, with peace in the Middle East and the oil through the Strait of Hormuz, that would mean that we're going to rally, right? So that's definitely a catalyst for rallying there after the big sell-off, although we have recovered somewhat already. So yeah, the first beginning, as Tom Lee would say, the first 10% of the war is normally when you get your pullback in the market, and then you start to recover after that. And of course, war is generally good for the United States, especially when it's a net exporter of oil. So so the rest of the world that has to struggle there because not just because they require the Strait of Hormuz, but because we've got a lot of progressive governments that have done net zero and made their countries vulnerable. And there's a whole list of those. All right, so that's kind of the play. So yeah, US stocks futures rally over 2% as Trump, Iran tout the 2-week ceasefire. So we're heading in the right direction here. Obviously, the big thing here is, we want to make sure that a terrorist nation, which has caused, hundreds of thousands of deaths over the last 47 years, oppression of their own people, and of course, American soldiers have been attacked for decades after decades, and actually not always retaliated by. Now, as they've had the retaliation after 47 years, that we don't have a terrorist state with nuclear bombs. So I know there's plenty of commentators out there go, why attack Iran, blah, 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 they'll be fine. Well, actually, they won't be fine. And we saw that in October 7th attack through Hamas, that these guys are willing to do what they say. So when they say it, they're going to do it. And therefore, a terrorist bomb could just turn up in LA and in Washington and just suddenly blow up, right? So we don't need any of that sort of stuff. So that is kind of cool. We had to kind of deal with that. We've got Sean in the house there, up only indeed. Well, talking about up only, the futures are up, guys. So we got the US 500 is up 2.4% on the futures. So we're looking forward to going live with the markets tonight. We'll have pre-markets opening in about, just over 5.5 hours, about 5 hours and 45 minutes for the pre-markets. So we already see that action, and then the market's opening up in about let's see, in about 11 hours for the actual market opening there. So pre-market, and that'll be pretty exciting. So at the moment, S&P 500 up 2.4%. I suggest to you that if there's no more barrages from Iran, and it looks like the ceasefire process is going to work, then we could get a much bigger lift than just 2.4%. So we'll keep a lookout for that overnight, and then we might get some profit taking if it does rally, later in the market cycle there, 6.5 hours during the main market there on Nasdaq, etc. New York Stock Exchange, CBOEs, and all that. All right, so we've got the S&P 500. So Dow closed last night before the news, was down slightly, 1/5%, 85 points to 46,584. The S&P 500, which is the one we're comparing there a little bit, it was up 1/10%, 5 points to 6,616. Nasdaq there up 10%, 1/10%, 49 points to 22,000. So we're back at 22,000 for the Nasdaq, and if that's got all the tech companies in it. So if we look at the last 6 months on the little mini chart here, we can see we're up at 23,680. So we're about 1,700 points down, just under 1,700 points from the highs here that you can see around there. So maybe 1,840 points. What was that on there? 29. Yeah, so we were about 1,900. Let's say 1,900 points below where we were. We peaked all the way down here in the last month. So if you look at the last month on the Nasdaq, and this was your dip, this was your best dip, was 20,700. So that's down 3,200 points, but we've already recovered 1,300 points of that. So back to your question there again, only crypto, it's looking pretty positive, especially over this 2 weeks. If it's looking continually positive, we should be able to build on that. If only good news is coming out, there's no more rocket barrages or anything like that. So that's very exciting news. What else? We also saw over last night that the Cargo Island was being bombed again. So we saw that happen as well, potentially for a pre-invasion by the Marines. So that was also a pressure building on top of this to get the deal done. Also, we saw, I think Israel also hit a big one of the utilities, and also one of the bridges as well. So a bit of a sneak preview of what would have happened if they had done that. We also saw the head of the UN talking about you can't take down bridges and stuff like that, and utilities like power stations because of the Human Rights Act and the international legislation, and that would potentially be called a war crime. Well, I'm sure that would have probably have happened in that case. And the other thing is that we know Trump really wasn't. I think it would be very unlikely that Trump was going to go there anyway, because obviously he wants the people of Iran to have a modern Persia, and you need electricity for that. Sure, he could have blown up a few bridges and divided and conquer the regime a bit more. But in terms of electricity, that has huge downstream impacts for the civilian population, which Trump is trying to support, not put down. So there's a very balancing act there. Of course, the regime doesn't care about their own people. They would be happy if you did that, although they would lose a lot of their power for do all their nuclear reactor stuff and all that sort of stuff. So that is definitely for their military campaign. That's the bigger problem, and that brought them to the table, right? Because they you can't enrich stuff without power, right, and all that sort of stuff. So that is pretty interesting play. So we'll see how it all plays out. So positive news and heading in the right direction there as well. All right, so that is the stock market there. Let's go to the commodities. Commodities at the moment, we saw a massive re-rate. Look at this. Woo-hoo-hoo! So this is hyper bullish, down 14 and almost 15% on West Texas. $16.40 down, guys, to $96.56. So that has gone down a lot there. Let's look at the last week. We were all the way up here just last night at $116 because of the imminent attack on utilities and bridges and things by the United States against Iran, and that has all tapered off for the time being. So we may very well see that continue to go down over the next 2 weeks, as long as the positivity keeps flowing. Brent oil at the moment is down $13.87, 12.7%, down $95.40. You can see that's even more stark. Look at that. That's even more dramatic. And that was up at $110. So that's great news, and we'll keep looking for that as well. So over the last 6 months, of course, we're all the way down essentially around $60. So we're still about $35 above that on the Brent oil, and still, let's say we were at $58 on West Texas, which was even cheaper than Brent oil. we've still got about about $38, $39 to go, and that will all just fall. So we should expect that price to fall like a knife as long as everything keeps progressing nicely for that. So very cool news, right? Gold, on the other hand, up 2%, $110, $4,842 there. So still showing some strength there with the old gold. Silver also up 6.5%, $4.60, up at $76. Now, obviously, you got the gold and silver bills still pretty bullish about gold and silver, and then we have seen though some rotation into the crypto markets as well, which have been up to this point, the best 2 out of 3 performers was Bitcoin and Ethereum since the beginning of the Iranian war. So that's kind of where we are right now with the markets. Let's jump into, so we got a postponement there. Let's jump into the details around that as well. We'll go further down. We've basically got this 10-point plan, and they're going to continue to proceed through that. So the Strait of Hormuz was the main focus of the Iranian war. The channel supplies 20% of the world's oil consumption. We also saw the Saudis use their new pipeline to pump through, I don't know, I think it's about 5%, 10% of that 20% consumption goes through there now. So that's pretty cool. That is where we are. So let's see how it goes. So obviously 6 weeks of the war. We've kind of entered 6 weeks of the war, which was the time frame that Trump had. And he definitely used the art of the deal, right? The art of the deal. And I don't know. Democrats still don't get it. They fall for it every time. I don't know they're so dumb. I don't know why they're so dumb. The other thing about the Democrats is that looks like midterms, guys. We talked about that in the second half of the year being the most obvious challenge to Trump, because you guys know if they did win the House, then they would try to impeach Trump infinitum. The reason why they would do that, of course, is because then they would try and ruin the America First agenda. That's the whole plan. But we saw on CNN yesterday in the polls that has flipped back to the red, so in favor of the Republicans, which would be fantastic. If we do get the Democrats in again, guys, it's going to be the most evil thing you've ever seen in your life. These guys are pure evil, their policies. And we just don't want to do. We want to get back to common sense. We want to get back to goodness. And of course, Trump has been dealing with the most difficult issues that have been left to fester. And it's great having a president do that. Because I've been wanting this for decades. All the policies that it's doing, from domestic policy in the US to foreign policy, been wanting this done for decades, guys. And all we had was Marxists and globalists making the world a worse place. And hell no, is all I can say to that. Hell no. So there we go. Short-term pain for long-term gain, guys, rather than long-term decline and then a whole ton of chaos. That's what would have happened under the Democrats, right? So that's kind of cool where we are there. Let's jump into the crypto market. Obviously, stock market doing pretty well. Crypto having a great day. So let's get into that. Crypto here, we got up 4%. So it's a really strong day. Market cap at 2.518 trillion. Still super small market cap. Remember that gold's, we're just going on rough numbers. Gold up around the 40 trillion mark. We've got the stock market excluding the Magnificent Seven or Mag 7. Those are the top 7 companies in the world that are generally tech companies, is around the same amount, 40 trillion, and then the Mag 7's around the same amount, plus or minus. So we've got a long way to get up to there, maybe 15x or so in the cap there. And so we're excited about where we're going to go here, guys. And I'm going to talk about some of the more bullish things of how money is going to flow into crypto to make that happen and get those big tens of trillions of dollars market. Only 2.5, small market at the moment. Bitcoin at the moment, $71,478. Woo! Up 4.2%. Fantastic. Ethereum, they're up 6.1% at $2,234. Great. We've got XRP up 4%, $1.37. BNB up 2.9% at $615. Solana, they're up 6.1%, $84.57. We've got Tron there down 0.5% at 31.5 cents. Doge there at number 10 is up 4.4% at just under 9.5 cents at the moment on Dogecoin. Very, very cool. So the best performer in the last week has been Ethereum and Solana equal spot there. Best performer over the last week has been Ethereum up 6.8%. And like I said, I've been covering this several days now. Digital asset treasuries, ETFs, are playing a key role in funding and providing structural support to Ethereum and Bitcoin, pushing the markets up. These are the big players. Most of the liquidity is going through there. Most of the future capital is expected to go through there. Stable coins, Ethereum has been winning the stablecoin boom that has been going through there. It's also still winning the tokenization boom. It is game on, right? So Ethereum looking super hot. Not surprised where we are here with Ethereum, and we are, essentially expecting it to do the best out of all of these. Really, really exciting. Now let's get into the top 100. See what's going on there. We got Blockchain Capital moving to the top. That's a new one, up 261%. OMG. So I'm not sure how long that will last, but that is up a big time. We got Zcash. Looks like it's just come into the market, isn't it? Really, we might check that. We got 24-hour volumes not even showing up, so that might be a blip in the radar. So just note that. Zcash at number 2, up 31%. Allegrand number 3, up 21%. Render at number 4, up 16.5%. And Morpho there, up 12.8%. So we've got double digits for the top 5 in the top 100 there. Pretty awesome. And we've got quite a few actually in the double digits there. Maybe up to 10 of them. 10 of them doing double digits. Top gainers overall in the top 1,000. We've got Joe, we've got Unitas, and Lab. They're all pretty different, so they're all top gainers there in the top 1,000. Trending overall, though, Bitcoin, Pudgy Penguins, we've seen this both there many times in the last couple of days, and Zcash there as well, one of our good old favorites. A good old friend anyway, good old friend there, Zcash. All right, so kind of cool. That is where we're going there with the crypto market. So up 4%. Looking good, guys, looking good. Let's zoom in on Bitcoin and see our chart. Yay, is this cool? This is very cool indeed. Let's give that a round of applause. So we've got the old Bitcoin at the moment at 71,432. We did have a high here in the day that's just closed at 72,753. So a really nice little bounce there on the old Bitcoin. Let's go to the hourly chart just to see that in view. Look at that. That was the response to the ceasefire. Very, very exciting there. And let's see how it goes over the next 2 weeks. Obviously, we need momentum in the right direction for that to occur, to keep maintaining there. But that is really cool. That's really cool. Let's have a look at the 4-hourly view. So 4-hourly view, we've got a very bullish cross coming up here too. So that favors consolidating a little bit and then moving higher. So that's coming up potentially for a golden cross on the 4-hour. Let's go to the wrong one there. I'm supposed to push the daily chart, and we want to get this turning up as well, and turning up to golden cross. So at the moment, we've got the 50 moving average at 70,500, the 200 moving average at $83,860. So there we go, and we're above the 50-day moving average again. So second time in a recent time since we had this consolidation level here. And if we go to the charts here, a recent high was all the way back here in all-time high for Bitcoin was all the way back here on the 6th of October. And remember, we had the liquidation event on the 10th of October, and we have not recovered since then, right? So let's go down. We came down all the way down to the 5th of February, and we were down 52%. Now, the question is, a lot of people are expecting a 70% correction. We've gone down about 50%. So the question is, why is this happening? Are we going to go down one more leg? That was always the key. We obviously looked at the power law, which seems to be the best model there for Bitcoin. Not for trading, but generally the intent of where the chart's going. And that is, could we go down 70%? And the bottom of that price floor was about 53K. And if you had a real bears, they were talking about 30, 40K, which I just didn't see happening. And I still don't think it's very well supported with the power law there. But, anything's possible. So here we are 50, and now we're down up at 71. Now, what have we been covering over the last few weeks? Well, we've been covering the digital asset treasuries, like particularly strategy, and the new iPhone stretch product, which keeps minting fresh cash. And that fresh cash from the debt markets is buying up Bitcoin. Beautiful, right? Beautiful. It is the iPhone moment, and that's helping us give some support. We also got ETFs coming in as well, like Morgan Stanley coming in to buy Bitcoin, and of course, all the traditional ones, the IBITs and the BlackRocks and the Vanguards and everything else. So it's all looking pretty good with that fresh capital coming in. Nice, and of course, performed pretty well. Like I say, one of the I think 2 or 3 best performer. I think it was number 3 best performer since the beginning of the war. So it's actually done pretty well also. So if it can hold up against that, that's looking pretty positive. All right, so that's looking where we are at the moment. It's going to be fun. Now let's look at some of the catalysts that are coming up for Bitcoin. Well, we've got tomorrow, if the news doesn't already get better, we have the ceasefire news today. And tomorrow we've got the Morgan Stanley is going to be becoming the first bank to launch a spot Bitcoin ETF. And they've got a $6 trillion under management, Morgan Stanley, and they have 16,000 financial advisors to promote it. And that's what I say. Every time we get a new bank on, we're getting a whole ton of new salesmen. In this case, another 16,000 to come in, and they've all got client lists with some of the richest individuals, wealth management, you name it. These guys, IRAs, I mean, these guys are doing it all. And now we've got a whole list of new customers with a lot of money from traditional markets coming in to the old crypto, plus our free salesmen there. They work for you guys. So they're pumping your bags. So it's pretty exciting. Strategy CEO Phong Le is calling it monster Bitcoin bullish. How about that? Strategy CEO Phong Le is calling it monster bullish. Isn't that very cool? And interesting enough, this is going to be another big powerhouse. It's just really starting to, the floodgates are starting to open up, and we've got more good stuff coming in line for the rest of the year. So pretty good news today, right? So what have I talked about? The House flipped back in favor of the Republicans. Now, obviously, there's still a lot of ebbs and flows there. Number two is we've obviously got the ceasefire. Number three here, we've got obviously Morgan Stanley coming in, another heavyweight, big time with ETFs. Remember, it's the DATs and the ETFs that are bringing all this capital from traditional markets, which is pretty exciting. What's the other thing that we saw overnight? We saw Stretch once again, the preferred stock there from Strategy and Michael Saylor, buying another, I think 350 Bitcoin, if I remember rightly, again. And we bought 650 yesterday, so that's basically another 1,000 Bitcoin for free. Last week was 2,000, so we're already up to 3,000 Bitcoin being bought up there. Very exciting. That's not going to see the light of day because it's going into the Strategy common stock, right? So massive stuff happening there. Very cool. All right, so let's move on to more good news. Is that not enough? We had three things, but now we've got more. So let's get into that. We've got Charles Schwab. So you want more big institutions coming in? Well, they're talking about, they've obviously announced big announcements around crypto, but they've also talked about massive allocations of portfolios. So we're talking, big trillions. We saw Morgan Stanley, BlackRock, we're talking about $7, $8, $10 trillion portfolios. Charles Schwab says 1 to 3% allocation of Bitcoin and Ethereum can reshape portfolio risk. So this is a massive, guys. These guys are moving in the direction, and this is just the beginning. We're really still at the beginning. A lot of capital is going to flow. We're talking about hundreds of trillions of dollars of markets here, adding up when you add it all up between the debt market and the bond market. Very cool. I wouldn't be surprised if we start impacting the Forex markets as well quite a bit. Suggests up to 8.8% Bitcoin allocation and aggressive portfolios at 15% return assumption as well. So some things they're saying they could have up to 8.8% allocation on aggressive portfolios. Isn't that crazy? At a 15% return assumption, very cool. How about that? So yeah, look at that. Woo! We also got Bitcoin on there too. We've also got Ethereum. Now, this is the question. I think this is what they're looking at the moment with Bitcoin, but I think they're going to pivot to Ethereum, and you're going to see changes in this board here. You're going to see changes with the return, and they're going to get into Ethereum because I think Ethereum is going to way outperform Bitcoin, right? So it's going to way outperform Bitcoin there, and that's exciting. So are you guys excited? I mean, this is so much good news. Fundamentals, traditional markets being vampired by Stretch and buying Bitcoin, and it will never see the light of day is very exciting. Now, we already know, and I haven't really talked about this much on the channel, that Bitcoin is already deflationary, right? So we've got 450 Bitcoin per day. We've got 2 years until the next halving. That'll take it down to about 225. And we've only got 1 million Bitcoin left to mine out by 2141. So that's huge. But guess what? We're really deflationary already. Recent reports come out that obviously we're down at 17 or so million because all the coins that haven't moved or are lost. And so we have got essentially deflation already in Bitcoin. And of course, Michael Saylor comes along with the Stretch product, vampiring the debt markets, which are hundreds of trillions of dollars. Even if he gets a fraction of that, to start off with, and it builds up over time, it is just a game changer there. So exciting times, guys. Exciting times for the old Bitcoin and all this money coming in. Very cool. That brings us to Ethereum, which I think is going to do absolutely spectacular. We've got Ethereum there at the moment at $2,230. We're back over the 50-day as well. So 50-day at the moment in yellow is $2,151, $2,151. So we're above that. Nice. 200-day moving average is at 2,689. So let's just say 2,700. and we are already up for the second time above there as well. Pretty similar story when we look at the charts. Similar story, not the same, but similar story to Bitcoin. Now we had the local high here at 49.57. I don't know if that was high. I think was it high in 21. I think it might have been actually. Let me scroll back here just to remind myself. What was a high here? 21 here. It's got the link on this one. I seem to have just lost my percentages. Anyway, so we got the high here near the top 4,900. Let's just say almost 5,000. We wanted to break the 5,000, right, and move higher. Let me just scroll this out a little bit here. So we want to break that out, and we got this 49.50. Let's say we came all the way down to 17.40, and that is a 65% pullback. So pretty close to the 70%. Pretty close. But we're actually up. We're only down now 55%. So that's pretty cool. And that means that we're up from the bottom here as well, up about 26, 27%. So nice little regain there. More importantly, though, we are above the 50-day moving average. Looking pretty good. A second attack on this too, and trying to break out of this range, and it's looking better, right? We've got slightly higher lows in there too. So obviously we want to break out this previous high on the 6th of March, which was $2,386, and move higher here. Kind of cool. Obviously, pretty much second best performance since the war, and so we're looking pretty good. All the fundamentals underneath are fantastic, and we've got the big digital asset treasury, Bitmine Immersion, continuing to buy 71,000 in the last 2 weeks, Ethereum, and ramping up their buys, calling the bottom of the market in. And that's pretty much in line with the comments that Tom Lee said about April. And Tom DeMark's call of the low being 1790 was pretty much on the mark. We got down to 1742 back here on the February the 6th. So since that time, it's been how many? It's been 62 days. And of course, we're currently in that zone. So looking pretty good is the chart there. A bit of more work to do to start breaking higher, but looking very good there. And maybe we'll have the momentum given the ceasefire to break that up. And of course, with Bitmine Immersion buying more and more every week, maybe they'll start buying even more than $150 million worth. Maybe they'll start buying even more, but they have to spend more, right? Because the price is going up. So they've been loving it. They've been accumulating in here for their 5%, right? Their 5% alchemy. And they are already up essentially at 3.98% of the supply of Ethereum now. Isn't that crazy? 4.8 million Ethereum now is what Bitmine holds. They're heading towards 6 million, I think, in about 32,000. So they're only about 1 percentage point off that mark. And I just can't see them not hitting it this year, even with higher prices. It's going to be pretty exciting there. Now, obviously, they need the MNAV to go positive, because they only got a rule where they only raise new capital with an MNAV above 1. And that basically means that the market cap is greater than the underlying value of the assets that are held in terms of Ethereum and other assets, their Bitcoin, etc. And so that has been a discount during this time, unlike Strategy, which has a premium, an MNAV of about 1.16, something like that, so 16% above. So this is going to be pretty important here. But they already have cash of about 850 million, so they're cool. They don't need to raise cap, and they just add that value, wait for the Ethereum to rise, and the MNAV and the stock price for BMNR to appreciate, and get that positive MNAV and start being able to raise even more capital to hit that 5% mark, right? So that's the kind of cool. Everything is going very, very well indeed. And of course, also helping give us some structural support to the Ethereum price, just like we're getting Strategy, giving structural support for Bitcoin. Both of them, Strategy, of course, vampying the debt markets, hundreds of trillions of dollars potentiality. And of course, with Tom Lee and Ethereum, they're basically bringing finance in from the equity markets over to the blockchain there, also running on all those themes, stable coins, tokenization, AI agent payment systems, and of course, creative payment systems, and many more other cool things that are coming over as well. So very exciting. Something else we've seen happen, more and more is real estate being able to be leveraged. So people got houses are leveraged there. There are protocols out there, or at least entities out there offering to get some of that capital out and then bring that into the crypto markets as well. We're seeing that rise as well. And I suggest to you things like that are going to continue to ramp up. Very, very exciting stuff. We've got Ori's in the house there with the fire, loving it. And we've got Frank White as well. Bang, bang, Pulsechain. Good to see you, Frank White. Welcome to the chat. All right, so this is exciting, guys. So looking pretty good ahead. But we've got some good news too for the overall market. So we're sure to talk about that. We obviously got the FDIC here approves proposal to implement the requirements and standard for US stablecoins under the Genius Act. Of course, Genius Act passed last year. This is for stablecoins. Obviously, we've got a separate battle around yield going on with the Clarity Act, and of course, full crypto regulation in the United States. Remember, this is the United States, not outside the United States. And so this has proceeded. This is pretty cool. We're expecting regulations by July this year. So it's still a month or so away, a couple of months away. And then, of course, implementation by January 27 or earlier, I think, if the regulations allow. So it's definitely, that's the roadmap we're going with the stable coins. We're already seeing stable coins boom. Ethereum is definitely winning the stable coin race at the moment. We see Circle, even with the setback, has still been getting billions of dollars of stable coins issued. It is going very, very well indeed. And of course, Ethereum is the beneficiary. Therefore, this bodes well for ETH and ETH outdoing Bitcoin. Now, we saw the top of the line there, I think in 21, I think it was up near 9%, if I remember rightly, Ethereum to Bitcoin ratio. And I think we're down around 3.94% at the moment. So we want to see that go back up there. But if we end up seeing a re-rate in the whole of Ethereum network compared to Bitcoin, which I suggest we were going to see, then we could see that getting up to Tom Lee's 25% or so. So, imagine if, Bitcoin hits $1 million, that would mean that each Ethereum was worth 250,000. That's the future, that potentiality that's coming, and it seems more substantial, more probable as time goes on. Now, it doesn't mean it's in this particular cycle that we've got ahead of us, but it could be in the next one, getting up to those numbers. So keep a lookout for that. This is a 10-year play, as Tom Lee said, but man, the next year or two looking very, very exciting. All right, so the FDIC approves that. Very, very cool. So that's heading as well. Comments on the proposed rule will be accepted in 60 days after publication in the Federal Register there. So the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, FDIC, remember we've got the SEC and the FDIC, we've got commodities and securities. We got Board of Directors today approved a notice of proposed rulemaking that would implement certain requirements and standards under the Guiding and Establishing Nation Innovation for U.S. Stablecoins Act, the Genius Act. The proposed rule would establish a prudential framework for FDIC supervision, permitted payment stablecoin issuers. So, imagining there's issuers here, Circle, for example, including requirements related to reserve assets, redemption, capital, and risk management standards. Now, if I remember rightly from the Genius Act, it was I think it's $50 million or above that will ended up getting regulated like this. The proposed rule would establish the requirements of the FDIC supervised permitted payment stablecoin issuers and insured depository institutions, IDIs, that provide certain payment stablecoin related custodial and safekeeping services. In addition, proposed rule would address the applicability of pass-through insurance to deposits held in reserves, backing payment stablecoins, and would clarify the tokenized deposits that satisfies the statutory definition of deposit would be treated no differently under the Federal Deposit Insurance Act than any other types of deposits. So really mainstream stuff going on there. The proposed rule announced today is the FDIC's second rulemaking implementation provisions for the Genius Act. On December the 19th, 2025, the FDIC issued a proposed rule that would establish application procedures for IDIs seeking approval to issue payment stablecoins through a subsidiary. So those are big announcements today for the stablecoin. That is a mega theme. And of course, other stablecoins can be used to push prices up, as we guys know, in the system, especially if they've got high circulation, right? So very cool, which they do. Compared to, say, liquidity forks, for example, which will get staked on their platforms, right? It's a problem with liquidity forks. So that's kind of cool. Very, very exciting there. And that's pushes as well. That leads us into Pulsechain. Why not? Let's get into it. Let's get into Pulsechain. We're 39 minutes on the hour. If you guys have not subscribed, smash subscribe on YouTube. We're streaming on the Crypto Night Show, Pulsechain X, and also Superman Crypto, 3 YouTube channels. Smash the subscribe button there. And if you're on X, of course, don't forget to smash the follow button at the top. Easy to do, cost you nothing. And if you love daily shows, we are the largest Pulsechain influencer doing daily shows covering not just Pulsechain, but Bitcoin, Ethereum. We'll be covering Solana and X1 coming up pretty soon as well. So very, very cool. Get onto it. All right, so let's see here. We got Pulse right now. Let's do a refresh to make sure we got the latest and greatest. We got day 1062. For those that are new to Pulsechain, Pulsechain is a full system stake fork of Ethereum, and of course, it was a big snapshot on the 10th of May 2023. Launched a couple of days later on the 30th of May 2023, and has been in price discovery mode ever since. And of course, now we are 1,062 days later. Very, very cool stuff. We got Pulse at the moment at 5076. So we're still coming off the bottom, but I'm glad to say that we're up 8% for the day. So you got to be pretty happy with that, given we're coming off the bottom, and that's pretty fun. We've got Pulsex at the moment. The Pulsex is the DEX, or main decentralized exchange on Pulsechain, and that is at 50612, up 9% today. Nice to see. And of course, it is deflationary, so pretty cool. We are down 8.82% is being burned so far on the GoPulse numbers, and I believe that the Pulsechain stats numbers are slightly higher at 9.2. So there's obviously some method or something difference there. Incentive token at the moment, 36 cents. That's up 13%. Of course, this was the incentive token for farming on Pulsex. That's essentially been the inflation has essentially been cut close to zero, and we now have a close to fixed supply at 56 million tokens. What happens with this? Well, it's got third-party support with some farms like Emmett Farms and other places. But what else use is it going to have in the future? We'll see. We know that Pulsex has a master chef contract, has a DAO, and whether the power will be handed over to the people at some time, we shall see. Whether there'll be single-side staking, other sort of applications that Richard Hart might launch or something like that. We shall see what happens there. Hex at the moment is sitting at 1400th of a penny, up 9.77%. So it is the third best performer, second best performer, I should say, under the Richard cause. We've got EHEX at the moment. PHEX. EHEX at the moment at 000 6400 there. So that is at the moment. So what's that? 64 thousandths of a penny. We've got the combined price of EHEX and PX is at 0.2 of a penny. So that's our mark right now. Super cheap still, even with the nice bounce today. Super cheap at the moment to pick up the Richard Hart cause. We've got the gas prices at the moment, pretty similar to yesterday, pretty low, 670,000 beats, 0.2 of a penny for a Pulsex spot right now. Moving to validators, we've got 50,440, pretty much been stuck here for some time since we had a couple of big validators capitulate and help cause the bottom of the price that we've experienced on Pulsechain. The bridge right now is at 70.5 million. So thanks for the majors booming. We're back over 70 million. So that is cool as well. That is very, very cool. Let's give that a magical twinkle. We've got a lot of stables idle on the chain, not being used. So let's see what happens to those in the future. But we're at 70.5 million. That's pretty exciting. We've got obviously a lift in ETH and Bitcoin today. Nice work there. And of course, we've got a bit of a lift in EHEX. EHEX also helps to drag it up a bit. What else can we say about that? That's pretty much it. Let's go. We've got 4 liquidity forks waiting. Hopefully, we're going to have 2 more with Vault 369 getting pretty close, and perhaps Coinwell, although I haven't heard much about it. I'll be more than happy to find out about that if you guys know, and so on. So I checked the Telegram, but it's really, there's a lot of comments in there, but I didn't see anything much about those. So I might have to do some more research there. Let's see. All right, let's get into the Pulsechain majors here. What is hot right now? What is hot? Let's hit the 24-hour trending here. Well, talking about Coinwell, we've got Coin Mafia up from Rack and Rochelle, and of course Jen as well, CEO there. We've got the price at the moment 37.5 cents, up 33% today. Pretty cool. We've got liquidity at 105k, volume at 8,400. But it is the leader today. So that's been a while since it's been up the top of the table here. You can see the chart here this last couple of days starting to move up. Kind of cool. What was the low? 25 cents. OMG. OMG. So it's up, about 50% or so. That is crazy. Let's have a look at that percentage. That is Coin Market. Remember, this is a coin launching site, multi-chain. And that's, or at least it's got 2 chains at least at the moment, I think. But it's going to be a multi-chain. That's a 48%. Now, I do believe they're probably, given Rackham, he's probably waiting for market sentiment to turn a little bit and other things for other stuff. So keep a lookout for that. Now, let's see. What do we got here on the weekly chart? Well, it's only been around for how many days now? 2 months and 25 days. So that's actually getting up there. I don't know if there was an airdrop class, and I think there were about 600-700 people in there. I do believe that is it 90 days? Was it 90 days? So actually, that's not far away. That's for like 5 days away before people in that list start getting randomly airdropped, if that's still the case. So question mark there. If that is still the case, that was the intention, then you've got 5 days until people may start randomly getting these tokens. Let me know, guys. Let me know if that's the case. Let me know. Hey, great stream, my friend. I appreciate that, Neil. So we got Neil in the house, guys, from a True DeFi. So big shout out to those guys. They are pushing managed funds system on the old Pulsechain in the sense, or what is it, like a hedge fund? I don't know. It's like managed funds. But they are running the 2x Pulse miners as well as the investment arm as well. Is it RSE? I always get the letters around the wrong way. Is it RSE? I think it is. And they're investing a lot of top tier protocols on Pulsechain, particularly farms. Excited about that. What was the question I had the other day for True DeFi? It was, were they investing in some other project that was there? I was trying to think. If I come up with the project, I'll try and remember as we go forward here. SRE. Yeah, what did I say? RSE? Yeah, I keep saying RSE. My bad. SRE, guys. SRE. Got to say it a couple times. SRE. So they've been using that investment fund. Very, very exciting, which I think's about 10% of the deposits, if I remember, that go into the miner. But they've been doing extremely successful. And you're about 3 months old now. Pretty much around that. So pretty exciting stuff. We look forward to update. Hey, Neil, here's an open invitation for you to come on the show and give us an update. I did an interview with the DeFi team before they went live, but I haven't done any interview with them since it's been live, and it's almost 3 months, I think. Neil, hit me up, and I'd love to have you on the show to give us a download of everything that's been happening with your True DeFi, because it has been very successful indeed, and definitely another DeFi offering for the community to take hold of. So very cool. And of course, they launched True Farm, guys. So True Farm token out there. Very, very exciting. In fact, you can see it in the ticker here. We've got the ticker scrolling bar at the bottom, and True Farm is on that list along with Emmett. So pretty awesome there. And the old ticker scroll bar at the bottom of my live stream here. Very cool. In fact, it's coming around in a minute. We've got Hex coming around. We've got Hex. What else we got? We've got Emmett Farm there. Look at that. Emmett Farm, $1.16 right now. That's looking real good. And then we've got True Farm coming up there. Look at that, 78 cents. That's pretty good. It says it's down slightly there, but it's actually up from yesterday that I remember, or at least 2 days ago. So very cool. True Farm's on the ticker list there. Very exciting. All right, so let's move on, and let's get into the that's Coin Mafia there from Rack and Michelle. We're excited about what he will do. For me, it's when you got a big venture capitalist that's got all these relationships and everything, you want to see their skills in action. That's what excites me. And so, I keep an open mind, and I like to see where they're going to head with this. And of course, the heavyweight one really is Coinwell, right? Coinwell is the big one, the big DeFi. We're looking forward to that. And so let's stay tuned. That's all, I guess. SCADA at the moment. We've got SCADA there from Nuke to Supply. Nuke Supply is kind of a niche player with some very, very exciting tokenomics. These guys have done things very different with the gamification, and that separates them out from the rest of the market. And they've got the SCADA project built on top of Nuke Supply, up 24.5%. So stay tuned for that. That is up quite nicely today. Let's have a quick look at the chart there. And look at that. So it's coming off the bottom there. So it was down at 0.0072. Now at lost to zero, guys. Lost to zero is now at 0.001. So 1400th of a penny right now. Let's look at the pulse ratio. That really shows you the strength of the project. Look at that. Woo-hoo-hoo! 188 pulse. Let's go to the weekly here because it's been around for a while. That's looking real good. And so we're 188.6 at the moment. The high was back after the month, and that was at 325. But they're looking really good. That's looking pretty good. So, what's the tokenomics on this? The tokenomics, definitely a description down here. Low tax means more RBOT trading, remove buy and burn. So they've got quite a few things in there. But that is it's the second project, I think, from Nuke to Supply. So check that out. That's looking pretty good. They're number 2 today. Pulse Guy was what, number 1? Or I think it was the number 1 yesterday, wasn't it? Pulse Guy. They've been launching some cool DeFi and stuff. I think they've got over 10 protocols or something. But Pulse Guy there still looking pretty good today. And this is tied into the Peacock universe, right? Because they're all LP pulled. And look at that. That's looking pretty good. So we're down on the bottom there at 40.7200. We're now at 0.001600 right now. And we're having a couple good days in the office here for the old Pulse Guy. And they had some new announcement launched yesterday, was it? We won't revisit it because we covered it yesterday, but that is pretty cool. Let's look at the Pulse Peacock ratio, I should say, because it's tied into that. And look at that, up against Peacocks. If you love Peacock, and I call Peacock Liberty Swap there the Kraken of Pulsechain, and they are at 1.1 cent right now. Sorry, let me rephrase that. They're at 0.011 Peacock to Pulse Guy. So they're definitely gone up there. They were actually down at 0.004. They've lost the zero. That's looking pretty strong. So a lot of Peacock going in there. That's all we can say. So Pulse Guy doing well. Hey, look, it's Richard Hart. He's back again. like the Backstreet Boys. We got ProveX up at the moment. It's up 23%. Whee! Now, I did give a price target for this the other day, didn't I? Had a little dip, little testing of my catalyst, and it was at the crossroads. Remember yesterday at the crossroads? Well, it's jumped, and here it is. It's pretty much hit the target that I said, which was 7,600 was the target on the Fibonacci here. So Fibonacci, we had that. So 76. I didn't actually post that in my X post, but look, it's hit that, and I said, the range would be 78 to 8,000, and look, we hit that. Look, we hit that. So I'm going to bank that. I'm going to say I've been right about every call so far. I was tested though, but because it was still around the 21 moving average on the 4 hour, I still was in the game, right? I was still in the game, hanging on, I admit, but I was still in the game, and it played off. So there we go. In fact, it's even more bullish because look at the 4 hour. We've got the 21 moving average moving over the 50. So we could see some pretty exciting things happening here with the old ProveX and maybe another run, right? Another run. Now, there's the 4 hour. There's the traders view on the chart. The RSI is getting hot, so we'll need to consolidate here. It's up at 76, so we'll need to consolidate a bit. But that cross, it means that on the daily chart, we could potentially see some pretty exciting things. Now, I'm going to get rid of the overlay there with the Fibonacci, but we are sitting just on the 21-day moving average right now. Fun times in the old ProveX, and we got the RSI still pretty chill down at 58. Remember, when we had this first rally, we had no RSI to check. It started off at around 50, and now we're up at 57. So this is another decision point on the daily, and we need to cool off a bit on the 4 hour. So that could, just happen by tomorrow, and we could slowly creep up here. But is there another rally on? And is there enough room? Will there be enough room, of course, for a new all-time high? I don't know about that, but certainly a chance for another lift higher definitely is the case. Well, where's the mark? Well, on the horizontal here on the daily, you can, on the weekly, you can see that we've got the 409,000 mark. So it's definitely quite plausible. That is pretty interesting. Let's add on. I haven't really set up this I've set it up for the 4 hour, but you can set this up too for the current position that we're at the moment. On here, so it is not set up for the daily, but maybe we'll put that into a X post on X maybe in the future there. So maybe later today, keep a lookout for a ProveX post from me with an updated view on the daily. But definitely looking promising is the old ProveX with the wind behind its sails, right? Because we've got such positive news right now. But yay. Another call. I've called the ProveX chart right every time. You don't always get that right? So I'm not going to pretend that I'm not Nostradamus or something, but but that is pretty cool. ProveX has been my best friend because it's been pretty accurate calls so far, and I'll take it. There we go. All right, so kind of cool. That's ProveX from, of course, Richard Hart. That's all the way from number 4 to number 8, dominating the pairs there. We got a comment here from Neil. Neil says, over 9 billion pulse earned from the SRE since launch. That's incredible, delivered to the True 2X miners as dividends. So there we go. Isn't that fantastic? So, True 2X there doing a great job. And that's definitely something that a lot of people have enjoyed. What is it? You guys are up at 40,000 miners. Is that right? 40,000? Let me know, Neil. 40. Hey, look, you may not tell us at all because we need to get you on the show. And so just hit me up about that. Love to have you on, Neil. And maybe we'll just do a one-on-one there. And you can just download all the awesome stuff you guys are doing, eh? That'd be great, Neil. That'd be really great. All right. 40,000. I think that miners on the heck. 40,000. There's so many. Frank, I got questions about system miners too. I got questions about system miners because I've always been intrigued by that part of your 2x miner system. Is the system miner. So, but don't tell us in the chat. Let's get you on the show and go through it. We're really cool. Very cool. Yes, over 40,000, says Neil. Frank White says, great stream as always. I appreciate that, Frank, as always. A big shout out. All right, so let's get into it. We got number 9 is 9mm right now. 9mm up 21%. And of course, our second biggest DEX, we have really only 2 big DEXs, Pulsechain and 9mm. We have a couple of balancer forks out there doing volumes as well, and a few other protocols with their own little pools. But these are the 2 main ones. 9mm there is up 21%, which is really nice. Obviously, we've got Pulse moving higher. 9mm should get re-rated as well. Funny enough, we haven't got Pulsex up here, but 9mm is giving out their profits as revenue to 9mm holders plus NFT holders as well. So that's definitely a lift for them. Let's see what their volume is today, actually, because they're only doing 250,000 yesterday, which is not that great. 437. So big jump. But what was that, 85, 90%, 85% jump, something like that. So that's pretty cool. Obviously, the more that they earn, the more dividends they can give out, and that values the 90 mem up more, right? That's kind of cool. So we'll keep a lookout for that. We know DEXs get re-rated. We're obviously trying to find the bottom of Pulsechain, start moving up into the up market. Maybe we need a couple of weeks consolidation to do that on the old Pulse chart. We'll probably look at that later on. And then some God mode candle comes in, because the market maker loves you guys. The market maker loves you and says it's time. So as they say, maybe when no one cares, right? No one cares, and then God mode candle, boom. lots of love comes into the play there. All right, now we're being pretty silly, but you get the idea. And it's just started raining outside, guys. I don't know what the maybe someone's laughing so much that they couldn't help it. All right, so that's kind of the coolness going on there. We're coming down to ZKP. It's a zero knowledge proof there from Kairos from Emmett Farm. What a master move launching this at the beginning. We obviously had DEX and aggregator support for ProveX, but the first project, as I understand it, was ZKP. And of course, you buy it, you stake it, and you earn 5% reflections in terms of ProveX tokens. And apparently, it's been pretty accretive. And we got it up 20% today. OMG, what a great start here. You know what I've been enjoying about the charts lately? We've been commentating on them, is that we're actually getting the quality projects getting repriced, not the crap projects where we've got all the quality projects being mispriced in my view, but actually, or at least not priced up, and capital flowing into rubbish projects. We've been seeing capital on Pulsechain flowing into the better quality projects, and I'm being very excited about that. Very excited indeed. And very cool. Now, this is the beginning, so it's only been around for 24 days, and this chart is looking pretty good. That's a 4 hour. Let's go to the daily chart. Daily chart is a bit overbought at the moment, so probably needs consolidation. But we've got such good times at the moment. We probably see this elevated for a little bit. What can we say about that with the 4 hour? 4 hours a little heated as well, but we could see it just stay, just chim along a little bit here. But certainly, it is, the RSI is hot at 75. And you want it to consolidate a little bit, right? So it's probably the case. Looking at the pulse ratio, I bet it's really high. Yeah, there we go. Look at that pulse ratio. Oh, that's huge. 32, and now we're at 65 with an all-time high of 70 pulse per ZKP. So just note that RSI is a little hot. You want it to chill out a little bit there. But what a great project from Kairos there. Very, very cool. So we'll keep a lookout for that, guys. And you can check out all the details around that 5% buy and sell tax distributed to the ZKP stakers. But launching at the beginning, if you're bullish about Richard Hart, Pulsechain, and ProveX, and then ZKP as a first mover with reflection tokens could end up being quite a cash cow. Now, obviously, it's risky like anything else, so do your due diligence. Not financial advice, but it's so far so good. But it does, the RSI needs to be respected, right? We see that, so it does probably need a bit of a consolidation at least at the moment, just to cool that off. Cool the jets there, but quite a bit of wind in its sails right now. Gizmo's in the house there. It's been around for a month, up 18% as well. We got Rhino at number 12. Rhino's a great team, right? Isn't that another great team? 16.6%. They've got their paired up against ProveX. Smart move, right? So people made smart moves, pairing up to ProveX, made smart moves, pairing up to Peacock, right? Some of the leaders, some of the DeFi juggernauts on Pulsechain. So it's great to see that happen, right? So we're getting some smart stuff happening, right? Let's not underestimate pulling up with the strong projects drags everything up, right? So this is exciting. So we're getting really good projects getting priced up by the market. We're getting not rubbishy projects getting, all the attention, all the capital, and getting ripped off. Not getting the exploit tokens that are extracting value out of Pulsechain. We're actually getting capital to flow to the right places now. Very exciting. Not only that, but we're getting a lot of the top tier projects. A lot of what I say when I say top tier, a lot of the quality projects. There's different tiers, of course. Quality projects there, tying their LP into these projects. And so we've got ProveX and Liberty Swap, Peacock, etc. It's very, very exciting to see that. So cool stuff, and they're getting rewarded, right? Getting rewarded there. So Rhino5 with their 28-day recharging technology, and I understand it. I think they're going to be doing stuff with True DeFi with the True Farm. So I think that's doing more stuff there. They're obviously in some of those farms already, but we're excited about where they're going to head. Then it gets into number 13 and 14, guys. Woohoo! Peacock, the heavyweight. It is up 15%, guys. Woohoo! So it's at almost just over 1,400th of a penny. So that's pretty exciting. So keep a lookout. And they've Peacock, of course, LibertySwap has got so much bullish stuff. We're going to go into that now before we move on because it is huge. So let's get into the main pair. It's looking pretty good. Let's go to the handle here. You can see the chart, and we're expecting a big month this month for Peacock. They got so much stuff. Oh my God, this team just keeps rolling out so many alpha things. And at least, we get a minimum one big thing a month, and then we get a whole ton of smaller things. But this month we've probably got 2, maybe 3 big things. This month we just had the big one yesterday. ZK, there's SDK and the API for other teams to adopt. And that means not just Pulsechain teams, but non-Pulsechain teams as well. Remember, it's multi-chain, and it's doing frontier of the DeFi, right? So with privacy and trading, and so this other blockchains want this stuff, right? They want this stuff, and no doubt big partners are coming, and they've teased us with that already. So very, very cool. And when I say partners, I mean, very general there. It could be informational sites, could be listing sites, could be actual other DeFi teams, lots of things like that. And now we've got also coming up, we've got obviously a big liquidity product coming with the yield. So it's really the first time moving into yield products, big deal there. And of course, they want to build up the liquidity and then potentially add fees on a bit later on that, and that drives revenue. And then thirdly, we've got the wallet coming, right? Woohoo! Yeah. It is the frontier of DeFi too, because it's the hybrid, right, between a privacy wallet and a normal wallet, making that privacy really easy to use for the retail book, which may find it more challenging, right? So you got Railway coming, everything else. So exciting, guys. Last month, of course, they launched Liberty X, right? The big DEX aggregator there. Fantastic. So it's exciting, man. Exciting. So you got excited about that. Let's go see what they've been up to over the nights. We're going to go check them out, right? Let's go do that. Let's go see what they have been up to. And they always got the alpha there. Let's scroll down. I didn't actually have this pre-prepared. So let's go back up the top, down the bottom here, because I was focusing on the Ceasefire deal. Kind of cool. Let's see what else they got here. So they posted this last night. I reposted this, said, we are releasing a wallet that works on any device, independent of any app store and fully censorship resistant. So, man, fantastic, right? Fantastic. And of course, they were showcased there in the Monster Thread too this week as well. Monster Thread number 48. I still can't believe we're up to 48 weeks, heading towards 1 year, man. 52 weeks, 1 year. We're only a month away from 1 year on the Monster Thread. Just makes me reflect, on our early days there. All right, so kind of cool. What else we got going there over the last 20 hours or so? They got some small back end upgrade there, which has been cool. You guys can read all the details there because they always have lots of technical things about how they're making things safer and better for people. Kind of cool. We got Railgun Therapist here. He's talking about the railway there. I think he's got LibertySwap. Look at that on the list. This is how it goes viral, guys. More and more people putting out posts, and more bigger platforms putting out posts. We've seen that with Blockcast and other entities putting LibertySwap in view, saying if you want the best of privacy and trading, volumes, etc., multi-chain, then LibertySwap starts to get on more and more lists, and more and more users come across it, and it just starts expanding. It's kind of cool. All right, so very cool there. Peacock surpasses 7,300 holders overnight. That's kind of cool. Keep a lookout for that. We expect that to grow more. What's ProveX up to now? ProveX must be up to, 15,000, 16,000? I haven't looked at it. It must be up there. So kind of cool. What else there? We're going to scroll past that. They always have some commentary posts. Let's see here. Bridge to Pulsechain now. Peacock. Indeed. Like that. If you love Pulsechain, buy more Ethereum and bridge it to Pulsechain to trade. People on other chains will see the flow of Ethereum and know where the real trading activity is. We LibertySwap may be poor, but we are accumulating. Nice. What else there? We'll go scroll back up here. So that's pretty much it from them, but we are expecting this month the yield product after we had the SDK API yesterday or the day before, and then we've got the wallet coming up too. So three major launches by my accounts expected this month, plus a lot of their other upgrade features and things that they always do in between. They've also been teasing some new products coming up in the future. So I think the roadmap for LibertySwap is outstanding. I'm still waiting to hear back. We're still waiting to hear from CoinMarketCap. LibertySwap did submit all the stuff they need to try and get re-rated from 24-hour volume and re-rated at market cap. That would move them from something like ranking of about 4,300 into the top 1,000, potentially top 800. And if they did that, then they'd probably get re-rated again by the market as being excited and may end up jumping a couple hundred spots. You never know. And so we're looking out for that. The other big thing I always think about LibertySwap, and of course the official token is Peacock, is that it could be the first meme coin on Pulsechain that has a chance to get to the $1 billion meme coins, and there's only about 6 or 7 of those, right? And that would also put Pulsechain on the map as a catalyst, in addition to all the cool development teams, and in addition to Richard Hart and everything else. So I'm always excited about that. Because it's driven by utility and a big brand, and these guys are pros. They're pros. The roadmap just keeps bigger and bigger. The system keeps growing. Very excited. So Peacock here, up at 1.1400th, almost 1500th of penny. Now, this is US dollar terms, but in Pulse terms, they're starting to climb to all-time highs. Look at that little wick there. Smart. So very cool. Like I say, they got the big yield product coming this week that's designed to increase liquidity massively. And then number 2, and liquidity is king. You guys know that's what we want. We want get this turnover liquidity. And number 2 is the wallet coming up, which is as I understand, the first hybrid wallet that combines privacy with a normal wallet, making it easy for adoption and privacy. So shielding and everything else is going to be huge. So excited about that. And I think the broader market outside Pulsechain will find that very exciting, and possibly could get a lot of support. So that's kind of cool. Look at that big jump there today, 1903. Look at that. Woo-hoo-hoo. We even wicked down yesterday. 4 hours there. Let's go to the hourly chart on this. The hourly chart there, we even wicked down a couple of hours earlier. We wicked down to 1654. Some people out there are just, I don't know what's wrong with them, mate. Maybe they're rotating at a ProveX or something. Who knows? Could have a ProveX rotation there, and then suddenly, bam, they got pushed up to 908. Smart move there. Remember that Liberty Swap is already in motion. It's already proving itself. It's already rolling out huge DeFi. ProveX has still got a beta launch there, and it's still going to do well on the charts, obviously. But man, you've got to decide where you're going to be with your portfolio. But man, Peacock is ProveX there, definitely the Kraken on Pulsechain right now, for sure. So we'll keep a lookout for that. We're not far away from all-time highs. So the all-time high we had on ratio was back here on the 25th of February. It was a ratio of 2,031, and we're not far away, guys, from that at all, are we? We're not far. We're at 914. It's climbing as we're talking, guys. Climbing as we're talking, and we're only 5.7% away from that. I think we're very close to getting a new all-time high on this Peacock chart. OMG, let's get it. All right, what else are we going to say about it? That's the daily. Let's go to 4 hourly. 4 hourly, we're not overbought yet. We're at 68, so we could go a bit higher. But we'll probably get a bit of consolidation after that. Something like this, maybe look like this a little bit, maybe, or a little bit like that. One of those two is going to happen. Probably this one here. Probably happen that in there before we get another move higher. But with all the news coming with these big projects, yield and wallet coming, man. Remember, if you're doing the wallet's going to have an airdrop, and a big chunk of the airdrop, as we understand it, is going to Peacock holders, and that's going to be the DAO token and potentially staking yield fee any token as well on there too. So keep a lookout. I think this team's going to surprise us there with the opportunities. So, but we're not far away from all-time highs. Now we're over all the moving averages, the 200, the 50, and the 21 on the 4 hour, and on the daily there. We are now well above the 21 there as well. So keep a lookout for that. It continues on as the glory there for the old. Look at that, this beautiful chart there happening. All right, so kind of cool. All right, so that is Peacock. That's at number 1314 right now. We've got Zero Trust tied into Peacock as well, but also Pulse. They're also doing a lot of stuff, part of the trifecta, right? So we've got Pulse Guy in there. I don't know. Are we going to call it a quadfecta? We got Pulse Guy too. We've got Zero in here at the moment, 14%, and we're at that's going up nicely. We've got Pepe just jumped in the middle there. Meme coin, obviously a big brand meme coin, now 15%. What else have we got going? Teddy Bear from James Maria is up 14% as well, doing pretty well. And let's scroll all the way down here. Incentive token comes into the view at number 22, up 13%. And we've got DAO token here, another meme coin, is up 12.8% there. Coming down to 30, we've got DevC in the house, 12.5%. More DAO token peers there. Look how many peers we got for all these ones that's moving up, all the same thing. And then we get into True Farm, guys, at number 39, because we have Neil in the chat. I'm presuming he's still watching, but Neil's there, and we've got the price of 78. It's up almost 10%. True Farm there. If you haven't looked out for True Farm, you're after high yield, then you've got Emmett Farm, you've got True Farm, both those offering consistently high yields. So you can check them out as well. And they've got bigger ecosystems as well with other projects too. So they've got a suite of projects. That's how we call it. So that's up at the moment, and you can go to the website and check out the farm. Should we have a quick look? Let's go have a quick sneak at True Farms. They've got the farms here. Now, I wonder, we've got True Farm there. We've got the farms, so let's go to that. Now, they've got Truth DeFi as well, so you can probably check that out. Probably got their 2x miners, etc. But we've got 78 cents at the moment. They've got total supply emissions today, 1,036. So that's probably about $700-800 a day. Pretty cool. It's part of the secret source of sustainable APRs. APR on single side stake at the moment, 192%. And they got 490,000 in there. That's awesome. That's really good. So going really well there. And then they've got a lot of pooled farms there as well. So you can check them all out with all the Richard cores. They've got Emmett Farm in there at the moment. Pulsex community tokens, which is where I think we're going to get a lot of expansion, is they've got some of the popular ones there with Rhino, Gelato, Tetra from Stu. So big shout out to Stu out there. Looking forward to all his products. He's got like 5 or 6 products. And Hero as well, which is doing, supporting first responders and veterans with their DAO. Every quarter they allocate some of the profits there to that. So kind of cool. So some good partnerships in there. And so I expect that to continue to grow. Kind of cool. I haven't looked at this True DeFi page. So let's quickly look at that. I'm really going off the reserve here now. But let's take you into True DeFi. We got the 2x miners. Kind of cool. And you can launch that there. Kind of cool. You can launch the app and so on. So you can check that out. And then, of course, what else they got? Let's go back to the farm page. They've got True 2x as well. They've got a DAO and NFTs, interesting enough. And they've got True 2x there. Double your Pulse now. So they've got all that links there as well. So I'm going to check this out after the live stream, actually. Kind of cool. All right, so that is looking pretty good. There we go. So True Farm there at number 40, up almost 10%. So we've got a nice green day today. So we've got about, let's say we've got about 40 coins today in the top 100 pairs that are actually, growing above 10%. So nice little day there for Pulsechain. Swarm up 9.7%. Sparta up 9.5%. For Investor from OG WebChef up 9.25%. Sitting at $1.38 now, so still relatively cheap. UFO in the mix there from PTC to Grays up 9%. Hex in the mix there, which we've already covered, up 90% there. Troper as well, up 9% from James Maria. Coming down all the way to Hex here. Now, I think this is this is Bitcoin Hex. Now, I saw a little bit of drama about this, but that is chilling there right now. I can't remember what the issue was there. Might have to double check myself. Let me know in the chat there if you guys remember. It was like the other day or something about Bitcoin Hex. Coffee shop up 8%, tied into the Peacock. We've got Treasury Reserve there, James Maria, I think, as well, 8%. Curve token at the moment. Now, they're doing their own thing. There's 2 curves, right? So there's one that's doing the limit order DeFi stuff, and then there's one that's doing their own DeFi. I can't remember what it is, though. Real estate. This one's the real estate one, right? So I think it's kind of a tokenization of real estate and profit sharing, something like that. I might have to do some research on that myself, but those are the 2 curves. I got them mixed up a couple of days ago, and that's just shipping those out. We got Zero Trust, part of the trifecta, or is it quadfecta? It's up 7.8% at the moment. Emmett Farm, so we talked about True Farm. Well, Emmett Farm, man, Kairos there leading the way. Look at this, up 7.8%, and the $1.15 on the stable. Look at that, great chart there. And Kairos has been leading the way there. Obviously, also doing his new protocol there on the back of ProveX. Very, very cool. So looking pretty good here. And of course, let's quickly have a look at the farm as well while we're here. We might as well. We're now 13 on it. We've got a little bit of time. So let's go to the farms here on the old Emmets. And we got $1.15 on the token price, $1.16 on the token price. We got the emission rate 750. So what's that a day? That's probably about 800-900 again. Pretty similar to True Farm, actually. The yield on single side staking is 83%. They got $191,000 sitting in there right now. So you can earn single-sided stables with Emmett, and of course, then they got all their pools. Now, obviously, Emmett Farm's been around a long time, for over a year, and they've given, I think, over almost $120,000 in stablecoin yield. And it's amazing during a bear market too. But they've got all the big partners in here, pretty exciting. You name it, the big labels are in here, earning high yields. Pretty fantastic. So check out Emmett Farm too. So you got a couple, two leading options. I mean, keep going, scrolling down. There's how many of the big projects on Pulsechain, and even other farms like Function Island are in here. It's huge. The Grays currency, And it's got it all. Got it all in here, guys. So you can definitely Vox, another farm, Vox in here as well. So you can check it out. A PI Pulse, I think it's another farm, isn't it? PI Pulse. Got to go check that. I haven't checked that yet. Nexion, another farm. Now Nexion's another farm, but it's really a big DeFi ecosystem as well. And they're out there too. So you know what I mean? It's no love is lost. It's just love all around from the old Emmett, and that's part of the success, right? Open arms to everybody. Come. Everyone that's not a scam, that is, all quality projects allowed. Morning all, we've got Craig in the house. Good to see you, Craig. Welcome. We're up to an hour and 15 minutes now, and we're having a fun time, aren't we? On a green day on the chain. Emmett Farm looking pretty tasty. Pretty tastier right now. So kind of cool. All right, let's jump down. Number 62 is Vouch. Vouch recently launched their new product, right? So Vouch, they were also in the Monster thread as well, along with several other projects we talked about, like Emmett and True Farm. And Vouch there is launched a new product. Not really showing up in the chart right now. Pulse, let's have the pulse ratio. Pulse ratio looking okay. It's in the middle. 1.35 pulse per Vouch. They obviously, I think they, was it a couple weeks ago, they had one of the big validators exit out of there, I believe, along with Validator X had the last one that we saw dump the chart, if I remember rightly. So, I like to make sure I'm giving you the right information on there. Yeah, they had their new staking pools launch there on March 31st. So, what's it, 8 days since that? So they're all cool, adding more value to their clients, right? So that's pretty much it. We may end up talking about Vouch more in the future. Now, Vouch is also one of our, maybe top 15 projects that are could get re-rated quite severely if Pulse, reverses the downtrend. Maybe we've hit the downtrend now, the bottom, and we're on the way up. We're going to slowly go up there, and maybe, like say God Mocan or something like that. Certainly, that is where we could potentially go there. So we're going to keep watching out for the old Vouch. One of our probably the top validator still, I think, by accounts, along with Validator X from Haunted. So that's where we are. Now we've got some of the PTC peers coming in slowly. Number 63, number 65, they're up 7.5%. Remember, the 5th of September from OG WebChef, that's up 7.5% as well. Halgo, a Hex derivative, is up 7.25% there. Pump Tires, the big Pump Tires there, token launching site up 7% there. Still pretty discounted, and you would expect to be so, I think, with the Pulse price, but still doing its thing, right? Still launching tokens. Still, I think, was it burning Pulse, I think, or accumulating Pulse as fees. So still doing its thing there. And look at that, 157 is the Pulse ratio right now. So just humming along, not too much action there. Because there's a lot of better players right now, right? There's a lot of better players, but that we'll keep a lookout for the old Pump Tires there. Certainly played some role in the bear market. Zendog there, that's part of the trifecta, right? The Zendog. I messed it up with before. Zero's already part of the trifecta. We've got, I think it's quadfecta. Quadfecta though. A Pulse guy. Do we add that in? I think so. We've got quadfecta. It's not as cool as trifecta, doesn't it? It doesn't sound, but it's bigger. It's bigger. So what else we got going now? We're going down there. Where did I lose it? I lost it. It's gone. We True Farm. We got it all the way back down here somehow. So yeah, we've got all those in the mix. What else? Unity up 1%. Recently listed for CoinMarketCap. We've got Stacks and a top hat from Crypto Coffee up 0.5% there today. Titan to Peacock, not getting a lot of love. But like I say, if Crypto Coffee decide to start really pushing top hat and just instead of the market moving, that thing could do some pretty huge things, given he is such a big influencer in the space. So who knows? We'll see what happens when the bull market hits. Maybe it's a win-win there. So there we are, pretty much green all across the board. Are we just about all green? I don't think we are. We just got a couple at the bottom there. A1A and Ink Dollar there. Ink's a stable coin, of course, so we could ignore that one. It's still at a premium at $1.01. So it looks like we only got one pair here, guys, that is not green. So out of 100. So that's not bad, eh? That's not bad. Really, 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 really funny there. And what do we got at the moment? We still got PTC the Grey, still a little bit underwhelming. Obviously, it had its little rally recently. And you can see that it's having a bit of trouble there, but certainly off the bottom. The Pulse ratio, let's look at that on PTC. Obviously, our big DAO token, 14.38, had a big little rally. We talked about that, sold off, came back to 14, is now at 14 there, but we were up at 17. Let's go to the weekly candle. It's been around for a long time, right? First DAO token on Pulsechain, one of the blue chips for sure. Big influencers supporting it, and big community, right? One of our big communities. So those are some of the catalysts for value, right? And they've got their locking and staking mechanism and deflation mechanism and all that sort of helping push the value up there. Prairie Nana does a great job covering this project, so go check him out. 22 was kind of the top of the line there, so still looking very good. Still looking at a bit of consolidation. Let's go to the US dollar price because typically what traders will look at, and let's go to the weekly there. A lot of room to move to the upside, isn't it? A lot of room to move. So we'll keep a lookout for that. On the pulse ratio though, on the weekly, certainly come off the overbought. So we'll see how much this drifts. It's going to drift to 54. Could come back a little bit, right? But if momentum keeps going forward, then this might do well. That being said, maybe other tokens getting more limelight right now, and that would include, Provex, Liberty Swap, etc. So there's always the competitive projects offering more value in any particular point in time. All right, so that's the kind of where we are at the moment. Now in 20, not bad, eh? Not bad. What a coverage. So summarize. Let's get into it. We've got ceasefire deal for 2 weeks, so we'll see how that progresses. Already start off a little rocky, and we'll see how that plays out. 10-point plan looks like it could be built on, and a deal being done. Obviously, the key directive there is no nukes for terrorists, and so that's kind of the main milestone. Now, whether the regime gets toppled over the next sort of 3 to 6 months, or even this depends on the Iranian people doing guerrilla warfare, right? That's probably how it's going to be, not on the street, because last time they did it on the street, they lost something like 45,000 people earlier this year. And it's pretty brutal, right? That's pretty brutal. But maybe that happens over the next 3 to 6 months. Maybe the weakness starts to, even after the deal's done, it starts to break apart. That's the regime has to really consolidate their power again. So that's what you'll probably end up trying to see. And will the guerrilla warfare start to occur in Iran? Obviously, the Persian people want to be free. They want to be modern. And so 89% of them don't like the regime. Who wants a regime that's killing your own people, right? And oppressing you with all their radical Islam, right? So no one wants that. And so, we'll keep watching out that, and the Persian people rise up, right? So, So a little bit of history, it was the Persian people for most of history. Obviously, it's in the Bible as well. And then, in the early 1900s, it was got changed to Iran. And then in, was it 79, the Iranian mullahs came in. They changed it to the Islamic Republic of Iran, right? So that's kind of the process. Before 1979, they were a modern, Western, flourishing society, free, and life changed very quickly. And of course, we saw that recently in Afghanistan. The young woman had about 20 years free from the radical Taliban, and then that's all been taken away from them in the last couple of years, particularly in the last couple of months. They've lost even more rights for women. So women are essentially enslaved in Afghanistan. Depending on where you are, obviously there's more tolerant tribes and more free tribes out in the country, but certainly in the big cities, it's gone back to oppression there. So freedom is very important, and as much freedom as possible there, particularly for the woman in the world as well. So there we go. That's kind of where we are on the ceasefire front. So we're watching over the next 2 weeks. Obviously, the fundamentals for Bitcoin and Ethereum are amazing, guys. They're amazing. All the big banks, the digital asset treasuries, the ETFs. It's looking exciting. We've got regulation generally heading in the right direction. I think the Clarity Act at the moment is sitting at around 60% on expectations. We've got April for the write-up and hopefully May for the approval. And hopefully that all gets done. That'd be very exciting. We've had a flipping in the towards the Republicans in recent pollings, as identified in CNN, in favor of the Republicans. Thank goodness. The Democrats are truly evil, so we don't really want them in power. And then, of course, then we've got they will undo everything, right? They will undo all the goodness, and we'll be back into hell again. We don't want that. And then, of course, we've got we got all the cool things happening in Pulsechain with some top tier teams. Even though we're still trying to find the bottom, we've bounced off it at the moment, and hopefully we'll start to make new higher highs and higher lows and start an uptrend. Right? That's the kind of idea. And we've got lots of teams building on Pulsechain. In fact, should I read out a few of them? I'm going on a bit long now, but let's read out a post I did yesterday, in celebration of what these guys have been doing. So I'm going to scroll down here a little bit and get to my post. Now, where did I put it here? Hopefully it's still here. Here we go. Here. Now I go, is the Pulsechain bottom in for Pulse? Richard Hart is working. That's what Richard Hart said for Pulsechain season. It's also something Richard Hart there in quotes. So he's working. The great teams are building the frontier of DeFi and value on Pulsechain. Now I've got a pretty good list here. But of course, there's one's missing, like Ramp now, and others that are doing great things. We've got Liberty Swap, Just a Pulse Guy, Zero Trust, Emmett Farm, True Farm, CKP on Pulse from Emmett Farms, 9mm Dex, Fast Abdul with the Liquidity Forks, including Vault 369 ink printer, Vouch, of course, doing public validating, Pulsex.com, Pulsex Dex, of course. We've got Curve out there doing their real estate, tokenization. We've got Hex, of course, for the certificate deposit, ProveX, doing peer-to-peer privacy technology, disintermediating the centralized exchanges. We've got Finvestor there, out there doing their LP liquidity pools. That's something that people like, and earning yields. We got Pulse, of course, PTC degrades the DAO on the Pulse chain. We're at Rack and Rochelle, obviously with Coin Mafia. We're excited about Coinwell coming up, and potentially also Coinaki. We'll keep a lookout where those are coming. Probably waiting for the market to turn. Liquid Loans, of course, with the liquidity fork there, ticking away there. Power City with the liquidity forks and other DeFi on top of that. And then we've got Nexian, of course, doing not just farming, but innovative DeFi products, and really big suite there. So big shout out to Psycho and Leaf and the team. We've got Axel out there doing peer-to-peer lending, which is a really great solution there. And then we've got Function Island there with Donny D, working hard on multiple projects as well and offering farming yields there too. We've got OJ Hart out there as well, of course, doing their thing. And of course, we've got the Greys with the first DAO to Pulse Chain. Hero out there as well, doing good stuff with their DAO every quarter for veterans and first responders. So big shout out. We got Pulse Chain. You guys know I'm waiting for Jacob with PSD Algo, his flagship protocol. Obviously, he's got Mafia, which is essentially out, and also on-chain bet coming, another big gambling one there, which is pretty cool because we've also got Morpheus out there, right, doing a big gambling suite, which they're going to start covering that, right? That's not on the list here, but they're doing some pretty cool gaming, including poker tables, all animated. Very, very exciting stuff happening there with Morbius. And then, of course, Signum Oracle from Stu again, waiting for that Oracle to drop, baby. We need it. And that's going to help open up PSD and others. So now there are many other projects on Pulse Chain doing great stuff, but they're all building out into different spaces, filling up Pulse Chain with some pretty heavyweight stuff. So it's exciting times to see that. Now, if you want to see a full map, of course, you can go to Frank White's PLS Start, which I think we might have on the list here. So you can go to PLS Start here, and you can see just how big the Pulse Chain ecosystem built on top of Pulse Chain blockchain is happening, right? So what are we trying to do? We're trying to find the bottom of Pulse. Let's bring up the Pulse chart here, and let's see where we're going here with this. I'm really adding this on because I think it's pretty important right now. I think we're kind of getting in that pivotal phase here. So this is the chart, right? So we're up almost 7% today, and this is the chart we've had. So we've had some pretty brutal times. Obviously, we had the launch of Pulse Chain pretty green. Then we had the SEC for 2 years. Richard Hart defeated the SEC. And then, of course, we had this big rally here in July 25. However, we have been down every single month. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 months. Pretty brutal. People watch their portfolios go down dramatically. Whenever we go down low, it's always a buyer's opportunity. But, man, we had 8 months of that buying. So even the buyers get demoralized. And the question is, is it when everyone's sort of given up? That's when we get to move higher. But at the moment, we're split. Look at that. We've got a new monthly chart, but we are flat green at the moment. They could easily go red in an instant. So this is a pretty pivotal point. Will we see this blue line play out? Will we see that play out? Now, typically, if we go to the weekly chart, we've got a green week at the moment. We might need a few green weeks in a row. You can see on this downtrend, we had only every so often we'd have a green week, right? Every so often, but all these red weeks. So we need to see this flip, right? We need to see more green weeks than red weeks and flip that around. And so will we see, some sort of recovery here? Will we follow up Ethereum if it gets a V recovery? It always has a V recovery. Will we see that happen as well? Now we've got Ceasefire and onwards and upwards, right? We know that Richard Hart is working. We know that these teams are building, and we're getting better and better quality teams building. And as I've shown recently, we're getting a lot of the money on Pulse Chain flowing into the quality products. Thank goodness, instead of flowing into crap projects that are basically got some sort of exploiter or trader taking all the value out of the chain, bridging it out of Pulse Chain, and gone bye-bye. So let's see what happens. And of course, we got Rich Hart with ProveX out now, and we'll see whether we get some market makers in as well. So there's lots of things. So is the bottom in? That's the question. And are we about to turn? So fingers crossed, everything's looking pretty bullish. So, and hopefully we've got no exploitable contracts anymore. I think they're all done, maker, compound, etc. And when I say exploitable, there's different meanings of that. Just anyone taking advantage of some contract issues or pricing mechanism, whatever it is. And of course, now also have the sacrifices really stopped? Are they finished? Pretty much out of the money, a lot of them. So let's see whether we can actually turn point now. The builders are building though, and that's been a really good thing. We've been covering it every day. And of course, you can see how big the Pulsechain roadmap on top. So imagine all these projects on top of Pulsechain blockchain. Really, really exciting, and onwards and upwards there. So big shout out to Frank White. That's doing pretty well. I'll post that link in the chat there. So that's the Pulsechain map. You can save it to your favorites there. Always double check links, of course. Frank does his best, and I'm sure they're all fine. But you do your usual double checking with official sites and stuff like that. All right, so there we go. That is the link there, the Pulsechain ecosystem map. And a big shout to all the teams building. A huge value right now. Being added by these teams, and not just on Pulsechain, but a lot of them are multi-chain, right? Multi-chain, and bring that value back to Pulsechain. So it's got to be exciting there. All right, we're up to an hour and a half. It's time to finish. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. I enjoyed covering it. I'm pretty optimistic. I'm pretty excited, and I think we're going to have a fun time ahead on this chain. And let's go. All right, so what else am I going to say? Hopefully, great to see DeFi, Neil. You definitely follow up on that the offer. And what else I was going to say? Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. Don't forget to hit the follow button on X. And if you guys want to join the strategy club and get all the hottest intel, as I'm researching, I post it into the intel chat. Then join up. It's just over $1 a day to join up. So really great value there. You can either hit the QR code and go through the Whoop store and join up and get a link to the Discord, or you can hit the links in the video description or pin to the top of X and join up. We'll see you in Strategy Club. We've got the best bunch of people in there as well. So good times ahead. Onwards and upwards is all we can say, and I'll catch you on the next show tomorrow. Take care, everybody, and bye for now. Let's play something fun out. Here we go. The Superman up and away.